We'll load in this demo. Provide some more background info on it while the setup is going on. Like I said, I was approached by this person, individual, however you want to put it, due to a question on like engineer stuff, especially on Empire Escalation. And they subsequently sent me this demo of them playing engineer partially through up to wave 4, I believe. And they're switching to scout, and from what I gathered from just their profile and inventory, like the tool count is 23, we could just disregard that really, to be honest. They seem to be following some guides, as well as doing some other like challenge stuff, like beating waves solo or making duo stuff. Also saw a screenshot of them beating underscore spy training mission that he made. I have no idea about that, but yeah, so there's some guide following stuff going on, and you can see it too by some actions. But I think the overall experience, like reacting to specific situations when something isn't according to the plan, if you want to put it, that there's a bit of lack of knowledge of what to do or how to react for that matter. But it's pretty normal for people that start out, right? And that's why you need to put in the time too. You can't just blindly follow a guide. You have to upgrade path down smack. Okay, that's fine. But just not having the money for following that path could already pose a problem and bring your whole plan out of whack. But it's not a problem that much. But yeah, it's a bootcamp game. As you can see, the team is as you would expect it from a bootcamp game. Random. So yeah, let's go into some of the upgrades. Okay, that works. That's good. Does that always show up over there? No. Alright. As you can see, they're using some Fallout-esque HUD element for engineer. And yeah, we get a two-way up call, which none of these people are going to use, which is probably one of the things that all of us can relate to in a way, where it's supposed to be that super helpful thing, right? But on random teams like this, you're not really gonna get any use out of that at all. So it's just 250 down the shoulder basically. Unless you really want to use it on your own, for yourself, it's not really gonna have any benefit. So below that is Rescue Ranger, Jag. That's the upgrades. And if you really wanna have two ways early on, you should probably get some use out of it for yourself. Like for instance, as soon as you have 400 credits gathered, you just go back to spawn and then go basically buy some building health if you want to do that. And then just go back and forth, building yourself up if your team doesn't have any need for it. But normal block down on the giant and blocking up here too. It's pretty normal. I would actually prefer the block up here to just be ignored entirely, because right now downstairs is just going to get flooded by these cap heavies. So you could just get that giant to come down with the bombers, because he has to do it anyway. So you can just control downstairs much better with the heavies, and then deal with the giant as it approaches to just hold the bottom much better. Not even have the risk of these heavies even going anywhere, really. But as we see, someone's already left. Classic bootcamp shit. and yeah, it's a bit chaotic. We're gonna see that throughout the game. Really, it's a bit too fancy with all this random stuff like rescue ranging and jumping for my likes. Because that sentry jump was just entirely unnecessary. Really, could have just dead it on that. Buster could have run away and then gotten some metal along as well. So the guy continues, no dispensers, it's kind of a waste. Slightly dangerous scenario here, being exposed. Especially with rescue rangers having just touched that building. I think that's something a lot of people just don't take into account. Or don't think about in general. Where you have, you know, the mini crit debuff from just pulling your buildings and rescue rangers. I really don't consider that to be too big of a deal if you know what you're doing. So you have to be a bit more passive in the beginning, and then I tend to just get crit resistance maxed the moment I have the chance and can afford it. Just get that downside out of the way. Be more active with my building positions and sentry pulling and whatnot. Sentry down there is too fancy, to be honest, when the Buster is even approaching as well. Giant Scout's coming, so you could just dead that on the spot. But the recovery is there, so you can kind of see the panic set in a little bit. Just canteening, not having the metal, you know. So bought some more metal, which is understandable if you have the rescue ranger, but I still find it a bit wasteful.
That was getting heavy. Sentry going up.
300 credits and that metal capacity just skipped. Could have invested into some building health, which would have helped just holding down positions much better as well. Especially so with a rescue ranger backup where you don't have to be close to your building. Just heal damage away.
Building a sentry. Moving out. That there wasn't getting any lighter.
Bit of chaos, bit of downtime. Could probably use the downtime to just upgrade this normally if you wanted to, but you know, canteen spam, easy way out, so it's not much too problematic here. Pylon arrows aren't really to be underestimated, especially against a weak ass sentry with just 200 something health. So not a situation where just early building health really comes in handy. And now you have to rebuild it manually anyway, so you see it kinda evens out there, but at the same time could have also saved it and then used it now as a backup before. And classic sniper annoyance. I think it's not too surprising that the Ubermedics were a bit problematic at the beginning, even though we had 3 classes to deal with that, but at the same time, it's Bootcamp, so I don't know what the spy is up to or any of the other guys, so got a refund here. I don't exactly know why to be exact, but because not a lot has changed really. So it just stayed the same, and then we just added building health. So not sure what the deal is there. Somebody else leaving because playing one wave of Bootcamp is clearly enough.
Packing up. Get going. There wasn't getting any lighter. Erecting a dispenser. Fall in, men.
The positioning of the buildings there, the dispenser and the teleporter being where this screams high tour NG setup to me for a team that actually uses it, which is not exactly what you want to have right here.
Y'all ready?
Hey you, how's it going?
Here they come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so we have 3 classes plus plan Bs to deal with these giant huntsmen, or big commons, however you want to call them really. I saw the spy going up, so I expected him to do something, but he was nowhere to be found up here. Sniper covered for that, even though it was really out of position. And late, the huntsman wasn't even aggroed onto the sentry. So you could do this, and then just block it like that, it's fine. Positioning is probably not quite there, and then pulling the building away immediately draws aggro to you, so... You could have dodged that as well. It's just one 50-50 chance, really. Never know when he hits and when he doesn't. But sentry is still in position, it's blocking, Umake's down, and the huntsmen are down as well, which is the whole goal. I really don't know what the spy was trying to do there. Sat the buster for shits and giggles, I guess. I feel like the rescue ranger pulling is a bit wasteful. It's a lot of metal spent and danger exposed for yourself for not really any benefit. I want to put it like that. You could just save this 200 metal, just walked up, the buster would have come here anyway and would have exploded in the sentry, then you could have pulled it away. You could have just picked it up normally and pulled, walked towards it, so... Metal management probably could be something to improve, which would also require less of a metal capacity investment in the end, because you just know how to spend it well. And then you could put that money further into upgrades that just keep your sentry alive longer. Especially if you want to engage giants like that. Positions engaging these giants is always a bit iffy, because you don't want to really put it right in front of their face when you haven't even seen the sentry, because they are automatically just going to target you instead of the sentry. And I've fallen victim to that myself many times, so you would want to have it in place before, not just slap it right in their face. Because most of the time you're just going to get it yourself, and then you're dead, you can't control your sentry, and then your sentry automatically goes down anyway, so you could just save 2 seconds. Have a bit of space between you and your target, and then just play it safe. Surprise engineer with a cool spy as always classic, when they just show up right behind you. They're all covering and gate's still being defended. So yeah, instead of maxing this, I will just cut those 2 points away and put that into more building health. Because you don't really need 600 metal on wave 2. It's a bit excessive. You could do that if you had like wrench speed on it. Would probably make more sense. And seeing as it's mostly rescue ranger focused, it's more wasted on just random pulls than it's useful. This is the problem with the rescue ranger. Just exposing yourself to so much danger by having your buildings in hand that I would really recommend just giving investment into crit resistance a chance. Even if it's just 1 or 2 points, you might just survive. Having your building in your hand, getting splashed by rockets, anything, even just random scouts, which just devastate you. I mean, what do you want, Eric? It's a classic bootcamp team. So that's just 2 rescue ranger pulls you could have just cut down to 1. You were right next to your sentry, you jumped away and then you pulled it. You could have just grabbed it and then jumped away and then pulled the dispenser over. It's just some small cut downs and building movement. Dangerous. Again, this is also some team stuff you can't control really when you're running around with rescue ranger out. Taking random damage, the spy even dragging aggro all over the place, you can't really control where he's going to drag them. So you could just randomly get shot by that giant, and it's not even any of your fault, other than you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But whenever you pick up your buildings, you're just exposing yourself to so much danger that even that bad scout could be potentially your death sentence. I don't know if you were trying to get the Uber medics with that buster. I assume so. There's the panic that sets in. Spies, giants. This was something I really fucking laughed at when I was watching it the first time. You're trying to get the fuck out by using your 2 ways, but unfortunately you don't have priority on your own teleport, so teammates coming in and just, you know, it's all she wrote. Somebody else ditching the game, and yeah.
You have killed all the spies.
Soldiers are gone. Dispenser going up.
I mean, the tele being there isn't really necessarily a problem if you had more control, right? You could just have it straight down at the bump drop, like the robot drop, and it wouldn't be an issue. But if you have a team that can't hold positions, it's just not favorable to have it exposed. You could have also tried to just pull it away, but that also would have exposed you again and might have even just destroyed the teleport in the process as well. Because you would have got shot at with mini crits. mean, it's not the biggest deal. We're still holding on.
I'm ready.
I think the spy had minimal impact. Maybe more impact in distracting robots. It's hard to tell. I think they're more sapper focused or something. So, not really sure. Probably the sniper that did a fair share. Because, you know, seeing the running heatmaker and all that.
Packing up. Move.
It's really hard to judge this. So yeah, like I said, if you cut down 2 metal points here, you could have max building health already, giving you a much better position for your sentry to just keep shooting, tanking damage, dealing damage, without the requirement of repairs as much anyway. You could just neglect it a little bit, because it has more health to begin with.
Go, go, go.
So
I don't need that.
yeah. So yeah, so far the two-way usage was a failed escape attempt. Making those 250 credits not exactly a good investment. And well, that one. Recovery back to spawn to stop that scout, but that could have been prevented without two ways too. Would you recommend me to try and not use Rescue Ranger since I seem to be overly reliant on it? That's one way, yeah. You could try playing without it, and then see how to manage your sentry that way. But you don't necessarily have to switch off. You just have to find a way where you're not as exposed. So yeah, the sentry position here on the rails is just pretty standard. Should be expected from anyone that has a fair dealings of 2 cities experience in that mission, or engineer in general. So that's expected from engineers. That one energy spawn is delayed, but also not an issue. I know that a lot of people swear on the Rescue Ranger on MvM, and I see and get why, because it's really a convenient tool. But I also think that if you really want to excel at engineer, you should be able to just deal with your buildings, keep them up without a Rescue Ranger. There are some internet drops in this recording, but not too big of an issue. It's exactly how it looked for me as well, when it happened to me. Oh, classic internet moment. I like the half position up here, covering top and bottom. If it was a half decent spy, they could just easily solo this Ammonites. You also cover top a little bit, supporting both sides. You like these pulls, you pull down into the pyros, you get flamed at, then you pull back out. So you're just exposing yourself to danger that's quite unnecessary and wasteful of metal. So some movements like this can just cut down. You could just put the sentry on the ramp, let the buster approach it, and then just pull it away. You just have 100 metal investment and less exposure to danger as well. You don't exactly have to run into the buster as fast as possible. Unless there's some annoying elements, maybe like pyros air blasting them, or constant slowdown from scout milk, or sapples, something that just breaks the flow of your play delays the sentry shooting at targets that actually matter. So right here with the scouts and pyros, you could have just left it on the top floor and like a mid position again, where it just covers the left and down as well. And then just let the buster come over, pull it away, put it back in place for minimal downtime. And then we also have situations where you just can't pull your building, whether that's not having enough metal or just having rescue ranger jank where you're looking at your building but you can't pull it because, you know, the rescue ranger in the game is great and works flawlessly 100% of the time. So the spy is zapping medics, which worked out in that case. But it was probably also not really necessary because the sniper is there too. But since it worked out in the end, there's not much to say about it. Rebuilding buildings. That's fair. You gotta keep in mind though that when you're calling for busters and then you destroy your sentry preemptively, the busters are still going to be focused on your sentry, so it doesn't reset. Like just right there, there was one pull, 2 pulls, 3 pulls. That's 300 metal that you could just ignore entirely by just having the sentry on top, just strangle that giant, forget about it, just let it approach, maybe even let it just dead on top, and then just pull for once for 100. So, like I said, depends on how annoyed you are by sentry bosses, slow down and all that crap. I don't exactly know what the plan was right here, because that was just confusing. You had your sentry, then moved it over there, but your dispenser was there, then you moved the dispenser over there, and then the buster came and the panic set in. It feels like oh god, buildings, gotta move it somewhere, explosions. But, you know, the heat of the moment, who knows, it all worked out. So yeah, definitely should get crit resistance this round, due to all the crits available, and should have probably gotten it on at least wave 3, if you ask me, maybe even on 2 if you were like pressured very hard, but at that stage you should definitely get crit resistance, which you do, and that's the minimum you should probably have. It should be fine with Rescue Ranger play as well, because you tend to be more passive with it, so you're not directly taking a lot of bullets or blast damage by just standing right next to your sentry and repairing it like you would normally do, so that's okay too. But it always depends on the situation, like how aggressive you want to be how deep you are, how easy it is to hold something down, if you have to engage more. But there's a second engineer now, so I guess they're switching off because of that. Not entirely sure. You could have just forgotten about the money at this point. I mean, you got everything you really need.
Man up, ladies. Go, go, go. Sound off if you're ready.
It's also a gamble to switch off. If you think you're better than that other engineer, and that's always something you have to decide for yourself, right? I mean, that guy could think he's a better engineer, and that's why he switched. Probably not the reason why he did it. Probably just wanted to give it a try, you know. That's how people do it on MvM. They just try something, they're bored of this, then they switch class and just try that. But yeah, if you have two engineers and then the better engineer switches off, it could just create more problems for everyone else. So you could just run with two engineers here too. Into doing that, which is okay too. And I don't even think you lose a lot of money, so maybe you just wanted to switch then on wave 5. Could pull that sentry a bit back so it doesn't fire down, but it's not that big of a deal. Downstairs is collapsing, people just got crushed. But you have two sentries, so calling for money top, but you don't have one, and then you're like, ah, right. Come back up there, but it's already almost gone, so whatever, it's not that big a deal. Medic dies, Giant gets stopped, Huntsman's doing his thing. Huntsman? Heatmaker. Trying to cover for the money. I mean, can, but Pyro might as well just grab it. Nice air blasting. Really how you want to do it. If you want to do it, and then easy peasy, Giant's gone. Could have probably stayed on the ledge there with the sentry. Sniper's already aiming at those soldiers up here, so investing 3 people on some normal heavies. Not that big of a deal. The Knights can't stand up against 2 sentries, which is to be expected. One thing that's a bit problematic is to know what buster is yours if you have multiple engineers. So you probably want to just keep away from other engineer buildings, even if it might not even be your buster. And I wish more engineers would do that, because they just clump their shit together. Then someone panics and then everything just explodes. Or they die and someone forgets about it, you know. Yeah, destroyed his own teleporter. Said you control Uber, it's fine. It is a bit dangerous just running in. You don't have to like rush it, stress it. Just chill out a bit and then take it somewhere safe, explode it there. that last giant. You could have just blocked him, the boss could have exploded. Giant in the sentry. So it wasn't really necessary there to do any of this. So we're doing the weapon switch ghost upgrade for the shortstop. Not really a fan of this, and I think it shouldn't be a thing, but it's not really the biggest problem that plagues MvM, so
Let's go.
that's just my personal take, so make of that what you will. Yeah, the thing about switching is you spend a lot of money on canteens that you're not gonna get back, so you're gonna be down some money on other classes, which probably means that you need to streamline your upgrades a bit more if the money is hard to come by. That milk slowdown, you can have it. There's a lot of giants if you think it's necessary to slow shit down, but generally you probably don't want to do that. I think penetration should be something that you get. It's one of the last things. Like you should definitely have more clip size before you have penetration. It's my feeling, because the more clip size you have, the longer you can shoot, the more use you can get out of your canteens, the less you have to reload, right? Something like that. And being on soda popper, I'm not proficient on soda popper, but considering the obscene amount of jumps you can have, I don't think 3 jump height is really that necessary. I personally just get 1 in speed and 2 in jump height, or maybe none at all. Like if you really want to cut down on this, you can, right? That's 500 credits you could have put in here. You could just get more DPS. And the dodging ability is still there, thanks to your hype. But it's more of a personal preference thing. If you think you're playing better with that speed, that height, you know, just go for it. But yeah, penetration really just comes into play when you have a bunch of robots line up, which is a situation that happens a fair bit, but doesn't have that big of an impact if it's not giants. Or like real big clumps of robots. And then you have to position yourself in a way that you make use of the penetration as well. Like if you're shooting down from like angles where you're not even in line with the robots, you're not really getting a use out of penetration. It's just another 400 that you could have invested in the just clip size. I think the way you want to play Damage Scout is also not the way they're doing it right now. You want to just not be seen and not fly around, because it makes aiming much easier to just not be noticed by the robots and just be behind them. So you could just really do the damage, if that's the plan. This is more like a hybrid style in a way. You're doing the damage, but you're also distracting. Like a just solely based support scout would maybe do it. I think there's a good use of a canteen here. There's 2 giants that are going in, lining up, and you could have gotten more out of it if you didn't have to reload in between. Like that was 2 reloads, you could have probably cut it down to 1 even. Trying to cover your team, which is okay. I like to do that too. Especially on snipers, they tend to be over focused on what's going on in front of them. But you can't always be there to save their asses. You now have an engineer with more passive building placement, and there you go, sit in on it, just a little bit sliding action. what can you do, right? If the internet shits on you, it's just how it is.
You have destroyed all the spies.
Got a spy indeed. You found him too. We got some ammo, because that engineer's annoying. And the clip size. Giant spies. Always classic. Like right there you could have approached it from the side where they actually lined up, and then you could have penetrated there instead of taking back the position. You could probably play it like a Backbone or Pyro or Spy even. That mindset. Loving that engineer, huh? Random spy just teleports to spawn. Could have easily killed you. But yeah, gas passes exist, so Pyro just demolishes that while dying. Classic, classic.
Get to an upgrade station before they return.
Yeah, I got a lot of money on that wave. Some of that of you invested in this already, so it's not that much left over. You probably want to get at least 1 point in here, which you did. Like I said, this is just preference, but you could also just skip this, get more resistances, and definitely wanna just switch this to max. Probably alterate it. I'm not exactly sure how you're gonna upgrade this properly. I think you wanna go like alterations in clip size damage, something like that. I think, because having 3 clip size gives you more DPS than just having 1 point in extra damage, something like this. Or the other way around, I don't know the math right off my bat, off the head, you know. So, I don't know. Yeah, when I was watching this first, I was thinking, giant? Who's gonna be the target? You got a medic. You're probably not gonna be the target. The soldier's really passive, hang out with that sniper most of the time. Sniper's not gonna be the target. Guy running Ubers, so the only one that's left is the Pyro. And the Pyro actually did quite good. Or the Pyro-medic combo actually did quite good against the giant, with just buying time and doing damage. Better than I would have expected it to go. So yeah, you used Canteen, you were in a perfect position right behind them, and I don't know why you circled around. You could have just stayed right behind them, Had it much easier to shoot him. And now you're just shooting crits from like mid-range, which still works, but it's not really your ideal fighting distance. Probably preparing for these scouts. And the thing here is you should have thrown that milk first before going in. Just to prevent you from dying like that. I don't know what the NG is doing there, he's just sleeping. But the Meg Pyro holding this off, trying to run in here to stop this cap. Which is not really a big deal, we could just leave that cap and then focus on this giant. What you really don't want to do is exactly that. If you really want to run in and then circle the giant, you gotta also know when to get out, so you don't feed to them, just prolonging the fight. Because the Pyromedic were doing quite alright there. So right here you could just sit right next to the shield, no danger. Instead of trying to circle around. I guess you wanted to take the fire of the enemy, but not really necessary. Just chill, you know, shoot the bastard, and then just leg right in. And you would have had a much easier time just dealing with that as well. You got some Invisibots, always classic when you have Illnet drops. Hello, real Dr. Rose. Does he have Ghost upgrade on Soho? Yes. Yeah, and he's just taking a nap, it seems. Yeah, those direct hits, nasty. You're higher to onto. I swear I remember seeing you around before. Yeah, I am. So the whole wave mostly gets played without an engineer, which is not too problematic, as long as you know how to manage your ammo and stay alive. And even if you die, the medic's still there, could revive you when you have full ammo. So yeah, all this circling is just really unnecessary. Just chill, sit there, let the pyro tank it, and then just spam your gun into them. Like, doesn't have any overheal mastery, it seems. Yeah. On the positive side, you got more ammo. Yeah, that sent you up there. You're never gonna fight that as scout, so just ignore it. You know it's there, so just take a step back and forget about it. It's just a waste. Getting hit by some invisible scouts there. Cool dispenser position. got that bomb right. This is perfect. They don't see you, you milk them, you can just get to do your thing without them looking at you, right? That's how you want to do it. I guess you bought more canteens. More bullet resistance to not die to the giant. But yeah, overall, interesting bootcamp game, for sure. Just gotta chill out a bit more, right? Just chill out, not stress this so much. Especially with the bosses and like the building pulling. You can still have the rescue ranger action if you want it. And we all started out with rescue rangers. I'm pretty sure everyone did. It's the easiest thing to do, you have a lot of control, you're not exposed to danger. And if you feel more comfortable with how things progress, like metal management, ammo management even, or how you want to approach other things, like even backup med picking with frontier justices, crits or general crit support with frontier justices. You can have Widowmaker actions against tanks, against giants, against robots, everything. And yeah, if you run more aggressive Widowmakers, you probably want to have more metal capacity just as a backup. If you're spamming more, you're gonna need more metal. So that's more justified as having more metal with rescue ranges. You have 4 bolts only anyway, so there's not really a requirement for that much. So just more building health in general is more helpful than having more metal, because you can't repair building that's already dead. Right? You can rebuild it, sure, if you have more metal, but you just want to keep it up and shooting in the first place. So I would just work on that. Maybe fix some of the exposure to danger with the mini crits being present. Keeping that in mind, picking your routes where to go with the bosses and all that. And definitely try to switch primaries too, to not overly rely on rescue rangers. And I think it's more fun that way as well. Even if you use questionable primary weapons like just shotguns or pumps and panic attacks, you can still have a good time with those weapons. So yeah, that's about it, really.